What is going on, guys? We are back here today with a competitive discussion, analysis, whatever you want to call it, type video. We're not playing on the ladder today. Today we're going to be talking about Sticky Web. Now, in today's metagame, right, the DLC 2 just dropped about 3 weeks ago, the Crown Tundra, and it's no doubt that Hyper Offense has become one of the most used styles in the metagame, right? So if you look at the rest of the metagame, before DLC, we were running a lot more balanced type teams. I even deleted all my old teams, but if you guys remember, it was a whole lot of Teleport, Clefable, Heavy Duty Boots, Spam, that type of thing. Hyper Offense certainly existed with those, Extra Drill, Rillaboom type offenses, Halucha and stuff like that. But now, Hyper Offense is way, way better. There's so many new things that came down. We got new stuff like Zapdos. You can see Zapdos is on every single one of these webs teams, just to give you an example of how webs has basically evolved in this metagame. And basically why I believe that Sticky Webs is probably the strongest type of Hyper Offense team. Like I said, there's so many different ways to run Hyper Offense. You guys know you could have so many different types of leads, stuff like a Zelf, Excadrill, and then, on the web side, you have Shuckle, Rybombi, could even use a Araquanid if you really wanted to. But there's so many different options in Hyper Offense. So I figured, you know what? It's time I do a video talking about Hyper Offense, why I consider Sticky Web to be the best. Got all these sample teams here to share as well. And then basically talking about how you guys can make your own too. So, I got all these different links, the viability rankings, as well as a metagame discussion just to look at some of these. And I figured, you know what? We could get to the bottom of this. We could break down Sticky Web. And hopefully after this, you guys can take this on the ladder and have some fun with it. Because very, very strong strategy. Kind of cheap, we'd be setting up the Sticky Web turn 1 just to sweep them with our 5 broken guys. But that is, that is just how it goes. But before I get into it, guys, I do want to say thank you so much for the support I've been getting these last few days. And if you want to keep supporting me, the best way to support me for free is to go ahead and download the Brave browser with my referral code, brave.com/BLU441. You won't regret it. If you ever look at my comments, everybody is writing for Brave because it is the best browser in the game. Like I said, use my referral code. You getting paid, I'm getting paid. You just got to use it for 30 days. And it's ad-free and it's completely private. So it truly is the best way to help me for free. And I mean, hey, help yourself. Stop using Chrome. Run up on Brave. So appreciate y'all. Go check that out. But let's talk about Sticky Web now. So when we talk about Sticky Web, the first thing that comes to most people's mind is Shuckle. Rybombi is a very, very good Sticky Web mon as well. I just have not seen it too much lately, but you cannot sleep on that guy. So let's talk about Shuckle first and foremost, because obviously you saw him in the thumbnail, so you want to discuss what he's able to do. So this is the Shuckle set that people are most likely to run. Sticky Web, Stealth Rock, Encore, Infestation. As far as coverage moves go on Shuckle, you don't really want to mess this up. You can run Knockoff, but Infestation is honestly a lot better because if someone gets greedy in front of you, you can use Infestation. Like, say someone brings in their Tangrowth or something, right? And they just, you're low HP, so they're figuring, whatever, I can just, stay in and kill them with 2 or 3 hits. But if you infestate them, then they're trapped, you're getting that residual chip, and that could be a lot worse for them in the future. So Infestation is usually the best move, but you can definitely run something like Knockoff as well. But getting past those moves, let's just discuss the first 3, which are quite important. So the reason people like Shuckle more than they like Rybombi or Araquanid is because Shuckle actually gets access to both Sticky Web and Stealth Rock, right? So your lead is basically putting up both of these things. The other thing is that Shuckle is so damn bulky that it's not unlikely for this thing to... I mean, it's 99% of the time Shuckle will always live the first attack, right? The only attack that really beats Shuckle is Choice Bandage Surging Strikes from Urshifu. That's the only attack. And I think Shuckle might even be able to take Bandit, but maybe I'm lying. But yeah, as far as it goes... Only Surging Strikes, the multi-hit, very powerful water move that crits every time from Urshifu Rapid Strike, is really able to handle Shuckle. And in a lot of games, you're likely to even be able to get a both Sticky Web and Stealth Rock, depending how you play. Encore is the move that Shuckle always needs to have in addition to these two, because it lets you stop anything that's setting up in front of you. A lot of the times if something were to set up in front of Shuckle and go for DD, 5-6 times, then you'd probably just lose, right? But if you have Encore, at least you can stop that thing and then go to your specific counter. So yes, Shuckle is basically the crux of Hyper Offense, as you guys all know. I'm going to give a special shout out to Rybombi just because it is a very viable Pokemon, I think. It's just that people are electing to use Shuckle right now. But something to keep in mind is that despite how good Shuckle is, Stealth Rock is not the best hazard in the metagame, right? Stealth Rock has obviously always been good, but in Gen 8 with all this Heavy Duty Boots spam, the fact that any Rock type weak is using Heavy Duty Boots, sometimes people even prefer to run Spikes. I mean, me and Joey did that in some of our videos. We had Spikes over Stealth Rock because it was just easier, it did more consistent damage, and so that's also kind of what people think with Sticky Web sometimes. Like, what's the point of even having Rocks? Or you can just put Rocks on an offensive guy. But this is what you're going to be running on Rybombi. You're going to be running Sticky Web, Moonblast, Stun Spore, and then honestly, as for the last move, you have a lot of different options. You can run Light Screen, Reflect, you could even run Tailwind if you really wanted to. You have a lot of different options. And for this, you just run max special attack, max speed, in my opinion. Ribombi's defenses are quite low. You won't really get anything out of maxing them. Its typing isn't even good defensively either. I like going max special attack because that Moonblast is pretty strong. It's able to hit Landorus, stuff like that, for sometimes even half damage. But yep, that's basically my talk on the sticky web setters. I mean, Shuckle, like we said, he is the most consistent of the consistent guys. Like, him and Ribombi are good at it. That's the thing. People think sticky web is a cheese strategy, and I would agree. It is kind of a cheese strategy. You hope you get up your web, and you hope then that the opponent has nothing to do. They can't remove it in time or whatever the case is. But those two Pokemon are very, very good at their jobs. Ribombi, I've never seen Ribombi fail to get up its web for the most part. You need to have like a Scarf Surging Strikes or something like that, or just in general, it's very hard. You can't fake it out. You can't hit it with a secondary effect of a move, so it can't really get hacked in that sense either, thanks to its beautiful Shield Dust ability. So it's really a fantastic Pokemon. But yeah, I'm rambling now. Shuckle, Ribombi are the main setters of the web. Now let me tell you guys why I consider web to be the strongest. Let's go over some of the Pokemon that are available on sticky web. I know this team has Landorus, just ignore it. You can change that to anything. It's just for the sake of it, I didn't want to edit this team. Shout out to Finchinator, I believe this is his team. But so Shuckle sets up the web, right? So the first thing you're thinking of is, now that the Shuckle, has set up the web, I want to look at some of the Pokemon in this metagame. I want to think, damn, who can take advantage of the webs? Well, the thing is, almost everybody takes advantage of webs, guys. Who doesn't want sticky web up, right? If you look at a lot of these offensive threats, you can see stuff like Kyurem, Spectrier, Zygarde, whatever the case is. Now, something like Zygarde or Clefable doesn't really benefit too much from sticky web, right? Because they're not off the bat hard hitters. But when you look at something like Kyurem B and Spectrier, it's so scary. Spectrier under the webs is one of the hardest ones to deal with. I believe I even have a team with it. The reason being is that once you have sticky web up, there's no reason to run a move on Spectrier, an item on Spectrier other than Specs. See, a lot of people like Scarf Spectrier because they like that snowball effect, right? You're scarfed, and then once you get your kill, you're getting +1 special attack, and that starts to level up quite quick. However, when you're running Specs under the web, you're already bossed up strong as hell. Something like a Bisharp switching in would get 2-hit KO'd by Shadow Ball. Don't get me started on Kyurem Black, Zapdos, Landorus. They're all dying, right? Even if this is Scarf. It can't switch in, obviously. And so I think this is a really, really, really cool tech. I have also toyed around with Modest Scarf on webs as well, which is really not too bad. You outspeed every single Scarf regardless, and it's a good tech in case your webs disappears. That's one thing. You need to have a game plan if your webs gets removed. You cannot just believe your webs is never going to leave the field. Even if you have stuff like Zapdos and Bisharp to take advantage of a Defiant from Mandibuzz or something, you always need to have a game plan. For example, say your Shuckle gets up Hazard, right? And then Spectrier comes in and the opponent brings in Mandibuzz, which is considered to be a nearly full counter to Spectrier. So if Mandibuzz comes in, right, then you're getting the free defog. So a user's play would likely to be to go into Bisharp or Zapdos to take advantage of the Defiant boost, right? But if those two can't sweep, then you're going under the position where webs will not be up, and you've likely lost one of your setup Pokemon. And so that's something you always got to think of. There's so many different ways for the game to go south if you lose your web. So you always need to have in the back of your mind a way to get around it. In some games, you'll even see that maybe you don't even need webs that much. Maybe Stealth Rock will even be better, right? When you play versus a stall team, what do you need Clefable and Toxic Pet getting their speed lowered for? They're already slow as shit. Like, there's just no point. There's no point in switching it up at that point. So you'd want to just keep rocks up. So you always want to decide, what you need to have up. Honestly, in a game where you don't need to prioritize sticky web, it's honestly usually better for you. Because then at least you don't have that pressure in the back of your mind, oh, it's going to get defogged away, oh, it's going to get removed. But something you guys can also see is that Zapdos Galarian form seems to be on quite a lot of these sticky webs teams. In fact, it's in the same spot on all 4 teams. Now, this mon is very, very good. Oh, what were they running? Psychic. Okay, I guess for Pex. I actually had a Ribombi team. I didn't even notice. But Zapdos is becoming one of the just favorites on webs, and for good reason. So, as you guys know, it has Defiant, which allows it to get the +2 attack on a defog. It smokes Landers because you can't intimidate it. Basically, Defiant is one of the best abilities, right? If you drop its stats, it's getting a +2 attack, and there's nothing you can do. So this set, he's running Close Combat, Brave Bird, Throat Chop, Bulk Up. I feel like he wants Throat Chop for the Aegis Slash and stuff like that. This set is pretty strong. However, I feel like this set honestly just kind of kills itself by using Life Orbs. So I feel like I'm going to put the set that I like running the most under webs. This set is also very, very good with screens, of course, but Zapdos has the bulk to pull this set off. So this is the set I use, right? This is the best one to take advantage of defog in my opinion. Bulk Up, Drill Peck, Thunderous Kick, and then Agility. Now, I go Adamant because you have Agility, and I like the power. Zapdos has pretty decent defenses. 90, 90, 90 lets it take like most super effective hits if they don't come off stab. Like, you're not worrying about a lot of shit. Like a Landorus T, you check Landorus T, you check Urshifu, you check Bisharp. This thing actually has a pretty nice typing that allows it to check a lot of stuff with fighting, flying. But this set under the webs is a complete menace. When everything is lowered by speed, it becomes a lot easier to kill things with Drill Peck and Thunderous Kick. Like I said, Thunderous Kick is one of the best moves because you drop the defense too, so it becomes very hard for Pokemon in front of you to really outstall you. For example, let's think about Toxapex, right? Now you'd see this set and be like, oh, Drill Peck and Thunderous Kick are very low powered moves. Toxapex is not coming on top of this. Except Toxapex gets murked because Thunderous Kick drops the defense, and then Drill Peck is doing upwards to nearly 50%. And at that point, it becomes very tough if you lose your leftovers, whatever the case might be. And another thing is, Zapdos is really good at baiting in that defog, right? I feel like a lot of the time people are not afraid of Zapdos the way they are of something like Bisharp, you know? When people see Bisharp in the back, they're like, oh shit, Swords Dance, Sucker Punch, I gotta make sure I don't lose to that. But a lot of the time, people just don't see the potential of Zapdos to sweep, which I think really sucks. You know, a lot of the time people think, oh, you know, Landorus gets such free defogs. Who cares if I give it a Defiant, whatever the case is. But Zapdos has bulk. Zapdos has the bulk to take a lot of hits. Even a priority hit, for the most part, Zapdos is going to tank quite easily. And if you defog into Zapdos on Defiant, then it's going to get up its agility or bulk up and sweep you. This thing at +2 attack is nothing to be messed with. But I do think Zapdos is a very, very strong pick, and I do think that if you use webs, this is one of the #1 Pokemon to consider. It's very, very strong. But again, we look back at some of these, right? I look back at some of these. This isn't my rankings. This is just this guy's Overtone series personal rankings, but I figured that, you know, for the most part, they're pretty decent. But you look at webs, right, and it can limit quite a few Pokemon. Something like a Magearna that gets hit by the web. If it goes for a Shift Gear, then it's still going to be slower than everything. Pheromosa, one of the fastest mons in the game, and a reason that people have elected to use Heavy Duty Boots Pheromosa so much. Heavy Duty Boots Pheromosa is, in my opinion, one of the best checks to Sticky Web teams because, of course, it doesn't get affected by the Sticky Web. And you can get the free spin off on most stuff if they're not running a Ghost. And that's why a lot of people do run Ghosts on their Sticky Web. You can look at these 3 teams, ignore the Nidoking one, but if you look at these 3 teams, they all have a different Ghost to help versus Rapid Spin. Blacephalon, Aegislash, and Spectrier. Aegislash on this one is actually kind of nice because it has sort of a defensive role here, checking Pheromosa and stuff like that. That would otherwise be a huge threat to the team. This team is also quite good versus Pheromosa. You can see it has Azumarill, which can take the hit there. It has priority Sucker Punch here. Blasef, which can take any hit besides Drill Run. Diggersby doesn't have Quick Attack, but I mean, you could always edit that on. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to have your ways to circumvent other offensive mons. You cannot build a Sticky Web team that when they bring out a mon that isn't affected by webs or is just faster than your guys, you just automatically lose. What good is a webs team if it still loses to Scarf Kartana or something like that? You know what I mean? Or if it loses to any Heavy Duty Boots sweeper, right? Like if Heavy Duty Boots Salamence or Dragonite comes out and Dragon Dances once and you lose because you couldn't kill it through multi-scale, your webs team is a little bit flawed. You need to have countermeasures. You can't just bring 6 slow as shit Pokemon like Nidoking and hope for it to work, right? You need, or 5 plus your webs. You need to have some other options, right? You need to have some speed. So for example, something that I saw, and I don't know who made this, but I mean, this was used on Hyper Offense since Generation 6. Healing Wish Latias with the Scarf. With Healing Wish's new mechanics in Gen 8, this becomes a really nice kind of sneaky tech, able to get the Healing Wish off. Basically store it for one of your guys to come back in the future, and it's pretty nice, man. Latias also provides a nice water resist, which can help in a pickle versus rain and other stuff, annoying shit like, you know, Regieleki, whatever the case might be. But yeah, I mean, Sticky Web as a whole, there's a lot of different Pokemon to take advantage of with it. Like I said, people like to stack up stuff like Kyurem B2. Urshifu is one of the best in my opinion. You guys remember the old webs teams I used to spam when Genesect was back in the meta? I honestly believe that you can run this set with a Life Orb too, and then just go bulk up last. I don't think Banded U-Turn is that necessary. I seriously think that this set is one of the most difficult sets to defeat under webs. This set is so hard to beat. Sucker Punch with the Life Orb is so damn powerful. Of course you can run Black Glasses as well, but I honestly like the Life Orb boost. You can really notice the difference, the way you're like destroying Toxapex, Tangrowth, all that stuff. Not saying Bandit is bad. In fact, Bandit is very good if you don't want to take recoil, but I really do think Life Orb is just one of the best sets, specifically under webs. Otherwise, I use Choice for sure. But under webs, Bulk Up Life Orb is a whole different type of beast. Urshifu does have the natural defense on the physical side to take advantage of Bulk Up. I'm pretty sure everybody has noticed that at one point or another when they use this Pokemon. You know, its physical defense plus HP are really good. You're able to bulk up really easily. And then at that point, you can just get carried by Sucker Punch and clean through an offense team. Like, Urshifu is not to be fucked with. That's one of the strongest, potentially broken Pokemon in the metagame. And I do think that if you make a Webs team, you are honestly hurting yourself by not putting Urshifu on it for the most part. Like, I don't want to say some mons are like, you know, you just need to have them. But in terms of what I consider to be the best, I would say that Urshifu is top 3 for Webs teams. It's just top 3. When something is slower than it, it's not going to be able to tank it. And when something is made to tank Urshifu, like Tangrowth, Pex, all that stuff, well, +1 Life Orb, Wicked Blow fries those Pokemon. Like, it really doesn't matter. And then also you look at the teammates, right? You got Billigeum, Azumarill, right? So your Tangrowth or Azumarill, Ferrothorn, whatever, needs to deal with that. We got Blissef right here, you know. Specs Blissef. There's no Pursuit anymore. If you don't have a T-Tar, good luck. This set is a demon. Don't worry, Blissef Live coming soon. Even stuff like Diggersby, which only comes around now and then for your random hyper offense team, is going to body bag your bulkier team, so you got to be careful. When it comes down to Webs versus a hyper offense team of its own, like, so if it's like a Webs on Webs matchup, it usually comes down to whoever can get the web up and take advantage first, or whoever sets up first, in my opinion. For the most part, both teams are going to be able to get up the webs. Something you can see if you look at these Webs teams is that nothing can stop the opponent from putting up Shuckle's webs, right? Like if I had a mirror matchup here, nobody could stop the other person from putting up the webs. So it would come down to who gets the kills first, right? In a hyper offense match, for the most part, the way I see it, it usually comes down to whoever is able to sorry, my mic got loud there. It usually comes down to whoever is able to get a kill first and then sort of win the sat game and win like by a narrow 1 over 2-0 margin. So that's something you need to think about for sure when rocking these sticky web hyper offense teams. But other than that, I just kind of want to talk about potential options of what, you know, can take advantage of sticky web really well in today's meta. So like I said, you guys kind of know that I like strong fighting type Pokemon like Urshifu, Zapdos. You know, their speed tier is decent, you know, 320s, but it's not, you know, that demon speed tier like Koko, Pheromosa, Dragapult, all that stuff. But again, Webs lets it go even, which is why I love it so much. You can see some other stuff here. So I mean, just looking at some of the stuff that would benefit from Webs, yes, most offensive Pokemon benefit. Stuff like Dragapult and Pheromosa don't care that much because they outspeed everything already. But something like Garchomp, something like Kartana, something like Buzzwole, Aegislash, all this type of stuff, Zapdos, like I said, when you hit that nice middle speed tier, that's where you want to take advantage of your sticky web. Something like Tapu Lele, which has kind of fallen off lately. You know, it has some drawbacks, like it says here. But with the sticky web, you know, you're able to get through a lot more of those neutral resists and stuff like that. And it's nice, man. But yeah, other than that, I mean, sticky web kind of stays consistent, right? You guys know what this style is there for. You're able to get up the webs, and then you want to use your hyper offense Pokemon, and hopefully just, you know, clean through the rest of the opponent's team. Just looking at some of these, if you're not running Defog, you're going to put yourself in a very, very scary situation. So now, my favorite part of it, let's basically go through this and kind of see what teams of mine would be able to handle the sticky webs, who would have a good matchup. So if we're looking at this team has a very horrible matchup versus sticky web. This is kind of a meme team though, but the fact that it's 5 dragons. But let's look at this team. So this is a fairly balanced team, right? Fairly balanced team. It has use of defog. But if this team ran the sticky web, it would honestly run into a pickle, right? You see something like Bulk Up Urshifu, which is able to very easily smash through this team. Even with a Fizdev, Garchomp, and Pex, that +1 Wicked Blow off the life will be doing quite a bit of damage. You have the web up here, which honestly doesn't really matter because the team in general is a little slow. But getting up the web allows you to circumvent Rillaboom, which could be fetched in some of your guys. Like, honestly, this team, I don't know how I'm not whooping this team with Bisharp. Even, I guess Magnezone is the way to do it because he has full Fizdev. But, and, I mean, he has a Helmet Chomp. But as far as it goes, I mean, you can look at this Rain too, right? When you look at Rain and other offense teams, they don't really run too much defensive backbone. For the most part, they rely on Pelipper, who is not a bad defensive backbone, but we all know he's not very consistent, right? His Spadef and stuff like that sucks too. And then, of course, they run their trusty Ferrothorn. But again, you run into a Webs team, right? And then your Kingdra is down -1 speed, right? So Specs Kingdra under the Rain hits 538 speed. Well, at -1, that's approximately like, I don't know, probably like 400 or some shit. I don't know, 300 something. I want to say it's like 3.6, 3.7, whatever. The case is, it's slow, right? It's going to be slower than Dragapult. It's going to be slower than Koko. It's going to be slower than everybody. And that's something you got to keep in mind with Webs. All of your faster sweepers on the opposing side are getting messed up by that. It doesn't matter if your defensive backbone is able to check them on for 1 or 2 turns. The fact that they're slower now is going to screw them. Like, look at this team. This team would just lose to Agility Zapdos instantly. It would just lose to Agility Zapdos. Like, and that's a perfect amount of Webs, right? You can force a defog situation. I don't understand how this guy would ever win, right? Okay, so he has Banded Urshifu, which is about as good as it gets versus Webs. But if you're able to get up the webs with your Shuckle, or whatever the case is, honestly, you could just lead off versus Urshifu, because they'll think you'll lead off with Shuckle, right? So what would really stop me from leading off with my Specs Latias, and then, my Scarf Latias, or whatever the case is, and then double switching into my Shuckle on the Ferrothorn? Then I'm getting up a web. The second I'm able to bait in that Pelipper to defog, Zapdos is coming in, getting +2 attack, clicking agility, and you lose. Like, you flat out lose. A lot can be said. Like, this team, for example, is a very strong team. #1 on the ladder, too. Not something to be, messed with. But again, another team that, if Sticky Web went up, good luck. Good luck. Like, what's it called, for example? Bulk up Urshifu? Good luck. You know what I mean? So it's all these different things to think about. Webs can really limit a lot of teams. Again, we got this team, Dayfog Blaziken. This is pretty cute. But again, a bunch of grounded Pokemon that have to watch out for this web. Webs is one of the toughest strategies to deal with. Seriously, on the ladder today, it's one of the toughest strategies to deal with. And it's very, very good. There's a whole lot of different stuff. For example, Trick Room will body bag webs. It's not like it's OP. It's just very good. Trick Room will most of the time work to body bag webs, because all your mons are slower than their team. If you get up the Trick Room, you're going to be outspeeding them every turn. On a webs team, like we said, it's offense, so it's not like you're going to have walls there. Marowak is going to come in here and flare blitz everybody. So I have seen that Trick Room is a very good way of dealing with webs. And honestly, Trick Room versus webs, I go back and forth and consider, what's the best? Because, we love using Magearna, we love using Marowak, all that stuff that, puts in the major work. However, when we look at it, I do like webs just a little bit more. I do think mons like Urshifu are just overall more consistent than stuff like Marowak, Glastrier, Melmetal, whatever you want to call it. Those are all great mons, don't get me wrong, but when it comes down to it, I do think the mons that belong on webs are a lot more viable as a whole, right? Spectrier, Kieran Black, like these mons are more likely to just give you the full sweep, right? And the other thing is, with Trick Room, once the Trick Room ends, you need to desperately get it back up or you're screwed. Also, Trick Room gets 6-0 by Melmetal, but whatever. But with Sticky Web, even if they remove the web, you can sacrifice that for an opportunity to set up. And if you're able to set up, a lot of the time you're still able to screw a team. Like this Kieran Black. This is an Icicle Spear. Oh, this is Icicle Spear. This set is cool, by the way. Free Shock, if you guys don't know, it's a 140 base power ice move. With the Power Herb, it lets you go turn 1. This is basically fucking, what's his name? This is basically Z move Kieran Black. This is cool, though. But yeah, guys, this is Sticky Web. I hope y'all enjoyed. I will link all these teams in the description, including the Landers Eye team. I know Landers Eye is banned, so you can't really use it, but still a pretty cool team. And you guys can kind of mix and match how you want to, but definitely let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Sticky Web. What are you guys' favorite mons to use on this? What do you think of offense in general in the Gen 8 metagame? What do you think about the Gen 8 metagame in general? I love the DLC 2 Crown Tundra OU metagame. I think this is a complete blast. I've never had more fun playing in Gen 8, I think. Even first DLC was not as good as this. The beginning of Gen 8 was really fun before Pokemon Home came out, but yeah. Let me know what you guys think below, and if you guys don't think web is that good, of course, let me know. I got to see what you guys want to, sorry, I'm stuttering. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I plan to do a lot more competitive videos, including some top 5s and top 10s, maybe top 10 Pokemon of the week competitively, or top 5 or top 10 Pokemon based on a specific typing. I think that would be really fun too if I took a competitive view on that. But please let me know below. Give this video a big like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.